What's up guys, Houndish here. Today, jumping in with a quick video for the Equilibrium dungeon. Wow, me making dungeon content, surprise. I actually took the evening off for contest mode, given that I'm an old man. In this video though, a quick mention for all of the Praxic blade upgrades, which are now available via the dungeon. And additionally, a quick breakdown for how you can solo the first encounter. And I think this is something that a lot of players are actually going to be able to do. Obviously, plenty of players run entire dungeons solo, but if you're newer to dungeons, or you don't have a team, I figured a quick breakdown of how the first encounter actually works might be useful because you can get yourself some dungeon loot with relatively minimal effort, and yes, it isn't too bad to do solo. So first things first, in terms of the dungeon, if you're looking for all of the Praxic blade upgrades, there's a quest called The Way Between, which of course we have to pick up to run the dungeon in the first instance. If you complete this quest, you'll basically get all of the remaining upgrades for the Praxic blade. So that includes the mods, the catalyst. The only thing you won't get from this quest is the Taken crystal, which is a random drop. Now, because some folks have already made pretty good videos on how to do these puzzles for the Praxic blade upgrades, I'm going to link Esoteric's video down below. You basically are required to initially complete the dungeon for the first time, then do 2 additional runs of the dungeon with some additional puzzles at different encounters, like we've seen with some of the other recent dungeons. So I'll link Esoteric's video down below, as that will also grant access to the catalyst for the heirloom exotic. But in terms of doing a quick solo first encounter here, like I said, I think this is going to be friendly to a lot of players. Obviously, it's not insanely easy, but equally, it's not very difficult. So jump into the dungeon on normal difficulty if you want a chance to pick up things like Zealous Ideal, which is the new solar auto rifle. There's also the Voltaic Shade Arc Scout rifle, which will drop from the first encounter, as well as arms, chest, and leg armor from the dungeon. You do have to complete the dungeon with feats in order to get high tiers of these gear drops, but if you want to dip your toes in, head into the dungeon and get to the first encounter that looks like this. Now essentially, in terms of how this works, firstly, you need to interact with the ship here in the middle. After doing that, enemies will start spawning in. Then, you'll find this shielded enemy, which as we look at it right here is to the left-hand side of the ship. If you can draw that enemy close to the node that you can see right here, he'll do like a Taken energy attack, and if you activate the node on this piece of architecture at the same time, it'll open up and the attack that this guy does will actually destroy the shield that you can see in front of us. So firstly do that, then hop on one of the pike things, I forget what they're actually called, and you'll get a debuff called Creeping Shadows. As you head through this route, you'll be able to drive through these kind of Taken pools on the ground, and that will give you a buff called Gathering Shadows. Every time you pick up Gathering Shadow, it will extend the timeout on Creeping Shadows, and if you don't pick up enough buffs, you will basically die at this point. So drive through, pick up the buffs. You may have to do a couple of runs to kind of get used to exactly where they are, as along the route there are a couple of different places that some of them can spawn. But go through as fast as you can, pick up the buffs. When you've got enough, you'll get a buff called Shadow Novice. You'll also come to the end of the run right here, where you'll see the spare pike sitting on the ground. And if you head back into the arena with the Shadow Novice buff, you'll be able to approach the Nameless Apprentice enemies. When you get close to them with this buff, they'll kind of crouch down and begin an attack. After a couple of seconds, you'll notice if you use your grenade ability, you'll do like a special Taken melee, and it will actually take their shields off. Every time you kill one, it will extend the duration that you have on your Shadow Novice buff, so you can go from one to the other, taking their shields off and killing them. Especially with the Praxic blade, this makes things relatively easy because it's really strong and it gives you health back. Obviously take advantage of builds that give you as much health or add control as possible. And basically when we get to this point, all you have to do is take the shield off all of the Nameless Apprentice enemies. So again, because it extends the buff duration, you'll need to kill as many of them as quickly as you can. But after you've killed a handful of them, you'll notice no more of them are actually present in the room. You will have big walker enemies in here as well though. And at this point, you essentially just have to survive, kill all of the enemies, kill all of the behemoths, that's what they're called. And after doing that, you will have completed the first encounter of the dungeon. So, as you can see, we get some loot drops here. I was using a Strand Titan with a Bayant Leap, so I've got plenty of Woven Mail, Banner of War, and all of that kind of stuff to keep me alive. I still kind of took my time clearing out the enemies at the end. And we can see I get some loot drops. Now, I do not often solo dungeons or encounters like this, so I'm not insane at it. I'm an okay player, but nothing crazy, I guess. And that's why I think a lot of folks will be able to jump in and get a little bit of solo loot here relatively easily. So I hope this quick guide has been useful. Who knows, from here, you may be even compelled to head further into the dungeon and attempt to continue it solo. I do think this is going to be a relatively easy dungeon to solo overall. I've only done the first encounter solo as my team then got on and we did another run and we're working towards the catalyst and stuff. So I hope this this quick mention has been helpful, again, if you're after your Praxic blade upgrades and the completion of the puzzles for the quest for the dungeon, Esoteric's video is linked down below. No point in me making the same video, because obviously they do an awesome job, so we don't need no pretenders. We just want our loot. If you guys enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out on the channel. Be sure as well to hit subscribe, but otherwise, I hope you have an awesome day.